on this manhunt still very much underway. Alex Del Carmen is with us. He's Associate Dean of the School of Criminology at Tarleton State University in Texas. Professor, was this a failure of policing? John just said it there. 250 plus police on the ground, in the air, on horseback, and one guy outmaneuvers them?
Yeah, you know, when these chases take place and the manhunt efforts by law enforcement take place, it does require a great deal of logistical work. There are people that are highly trained in this area, particularly U.S. Marshals, right, that actually are able to figure out by foot somebody how long they would be able to move in a given day, given climatic conditions, or if they hijack a vehicle, how far they could travel in a given day. And so all of those computations, I'm sure, are being regarded right now. But the problem, Chance, is that when you look at this from the standpoint of speed in which they respond to a scene, it is the first few minutes and the first few hours that are really, really crucial to the apprehension of a person.
So what are the odds, do you think, the suspect is now in Mexico? He's reportedly been deported already 4 or 5 times. He knows the route. It's only 360 miles away. Do you think he's even in the U.S.?
You know, it's a 50-50 chance right now. And part of the problem that we have in this particular case is, as you noted in your story, the actual cell phone was recovered. And so by virtue of that, cell phones typically help us out being able to track somebody by pinging them, you know, as they make, you know, their way somewhere, right? So law enforcement really doesn't have a technical capability right now of even having an estimate or where this person could be. As far as whether he's in Mexico or not, you know, it's anybody's guess right now. You know, some people are saying, obviously, that he could blend in very easily, that he knows the way down there, and that, you know, that particular area between Houston and Mexico is very fluid in the sense that you can catch a ride rather easily. But I'm not sure. I think this person is likely going to have a difficult time moving really far away from that area, given the fact that he has received now, as per your show, national and international coverage.
And he also has ties to the community. I was reading some coverage that he reportedly has a wife and at least one child in Cleveland, in the home that he was on his property. I mean, and you think of these families that were impacted. This gentleman saying, you know, my wife said, you got to get out of here. And we hear about these women who were covering the kids with their own bodies while they were murdered, trying to protect them. Do police turn to the suspect's family, acquaintances now to try to track him down? What is the strategy?
Absolutely. So imagine a multi-layered effort. Some of them are, you know, obviously in the area looking for him in the woods. Others are in a helicopter looking for him, you know, down the road or down the street. And then you have the immediate supervisors or the crime investigators that are actually headed towards, you know, the family home, talking to relatives, figuring out who lives close by, where this person could have hidden. Is he close to his mother? Is his mother in the United States? Would he have gone there? Are there cousins between Houston and Mexico where he could have sought shelter? Is there something familiar to him where he would have gone to that we can actually begin the process of staking it out until he shows up? And so imagine that this is almost like the movies, right? Almost like a Hollywood movie where you're seeing multiple law enforcement entities, the federal government involved at all levels, and a highly visible profile of an individual that killed 5 people, 5 innocent individuals of different ages, of different genders, you know, 5 people that lived close to him, that he knew, that he likely had interactions with in the past. And so we know that if this person was able to kill a 9-year-old, he's able to kill anyone.
Is trust an obstacle in these communities, Professor, where you do have a sizable portion of the population who may be in the country illegally, but you also need their cooperation? Is trust an issue?
It is, you know, and look, you know, the reality is when you have people here that are undocumented, they fear to be deported anytime they pick up the phone and call 911. That's not my theory. That's what facts actually show, you know, and have shown over the years. And in fact, we criminologists actually study the issue of domestic violence because we know that one of those particular types of crimes that are oftentimes underreported by the undocumented population is underreported as a result of the fact that people fear to call 911 and they think that immigration is going to show up at their front door and deport them. And so clearly, when it comes to this, what is interesting about this is the fact that now that the person is loose, those factors can come into play and prevent someone from calling 911 and alerting law enforcement, in the sense that maybe they're undocumented, maybe this person went to seek refuge at their home or took over their home and they have a chance to call 911, but they will not do it because they fear that who's going to show up at that front door is immigration services versus local law enforcement to apprehend the bad guy. And so there's no question that that's a factor.
And then the hindsight, the sheriff saying, you know, we'd been called to this address before, this same suspect shooting the gun, you know, he was in the country illegally, had the gun illegally, and you just wonder, could something have been prevented? Professor Alex Del Carmen with us tonight from Texas. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.